And one day you had a mouthful of butterkist and you laughed so much it all went all over the carpet, the mouthful of butterkist, and you couldn't stop laughing.
The two girls, Charmian and Miranda Foster and Helen Fitzgerald, we used to sit up there during Anthony's death, or the scene before he died, because we all had to be up inside this great big monument. And I remember they said to me, Jude, what's your favourite thing to eat? We were whispering. I mean, we were in this dark, dark place. What's your favourite thing to eat? And so we'd be saying what it was. And on the last night, we got up into the monument and we were sitting there. And suddenly the girls had a torch and they went, because I'd said, my favourite thing is lobster, without a doubt. And so they suddenly went, and there a plate with lobster on it. And they had two other plates. And we sat there during this bit and ate this wonderful supper.
In the monument?
In the monument. Before my last scene with Anthony. And hauling him up and everything. And
but what was going on stage?
He was having a scene.
Anthony Hopkins
was
played Anthony.
Yes.
Was having.
He never heard us. He never heard us. We were like mice.
You were chowing down on a lobster claw.
But it was a wonderful treat, and it was the last night.
Jude, what's your favourite Shakespearean couple?
You mean on the page?
Well,
because it's so associated with the people you're with, isn't it?
What you mean on the page as opposed to on the stage?
Yes.
Or
because, you know.
How does that differ?
Well, you're in love with somebody, aren't you?
Oh, okay, yes.
Probably.
Well, not always.
Not always.
No.
No.
Favourite? What would you say your favourite Shakespeare couple?
To play, you mean?
I'd say to play, yes.
Well, I suppose Romeo and Juliet.
That young love.
Yes, and with Franco Zeffirelli, who had no regard for the language of Shakespeare. I mean, not to say he cut it, but he didn't like Peter Hall obeys the meter, but Franco didn't. Franco threw the whole lot out of the window, and so that was so intensely kind of high-powered, and we played it at the Fenice in Venice.
But you said he didn't care about the verse or the structure.
No.
So what did he care about? What was it?
He cared about the passion of it.
Okay.
He cared deeply about the actual, real passion. I remember on the first night at the Vic, the curtain went up and there was a fountain in the middle, and some stairs up to a house and a balcony, and the boys were just lying back in the heat round the thing, and the audience gasped.
Well, they gasped,
and we all heard them. It was, and strangely, it was designed by a man called Peter Hall.
Ah, yes.
A designer called Peter Hall.
But not the Peter Hall.
No,
not the director you worked with.
So, I mean, for all sorts of reasons, playing Cleopatra with Tony Hopkins was absolutely thrilling moment.
Yes.
And
Much Ado, of course, with Donald.
And Much Ado with Donald, and him being so naughty, and somebody coming in late, and he suddenly broke off speaking to me, and he looked at a pretend watch, and he said, "Do you know the story so far?" He said to these people. And that brilliant thing he did in Twelfth Night as Malvolio. Oh my word! He had to come walking down the middle of the garden, and there was a round sundial, and he came walking down, and he got to the sundial, and he stopped, and he looked at the sun. Then he took out the most enormous watch, and he looked at it, and you put it back like that, and then he'd turn the sun down, put the house down.
What's interesting?
Wonderful.
Sorry to interrupt, but what's interesting about those three you've named is Romeo and Juliet, a young love, Beatrice and Benedict, Much Ado, are older love, and then Cleopatra and, of course, Antony and Cleopatra.
Antony.
That's the salad days. It's one last hurrah, isn't it? You know,
Yes,
that's older love.
Yes. Yes.
Were the plays of Shakespeare written by the man from Stratford?
Well, for want of anyone better, yes, for me they were.
Mm.
That's who wrote them, and you recognise kind of signature things in each play that you think that must have only been written by one man who. And for me, the man from Stratford, William Shakespeare, will do for the answer.
These words can make me feel incredibly calm. And if I'm anxious about anything, I mean, you said during COVID, you said, what was the Richard II line? You kept on, you said
About
I
time.
wasted time, and now doth time waste me. I thought of that all the time during COVID, that line. Well, because he wrote, there is something in every single play that is absolutely appropriate to the moment and the time and the emotion and everything that we go through.
Yes. So if I was to say if I want to know about love, what play would you direct me to, or what performance would you?
The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite.
Yes.
It's Juliet.
It's Juliet. And he says that, and that's in a nutshell, isn't it? Or if you want to know about jealousy, look at, Leontes, obviously, in Winter's Tale.
Yes.
But it's kind of all in there, isn't it? And there's something comforting about that Shakespeare can say it.
So concisely.
Yes, yes, yes.
So not without rambling on about it. So just concisely in just a few lines.
I think the thing about Shakespeare is one can often overcomplicate it. And that's why, for instance, when your grandson Sammy was very young, I think he was about 3 or 4, he came to see All's Well That Ends Well in Stratford. But he would sit still. You saw this little kind of mass of red hair. And but for a 3-hour play, again, quite a complicated play, because there's something about the rhythm of the words and the language that made him absolutely, it's the heartbeat that made him absolutely transfixed by it. But I remember we were sitting in there and Sammy was sitting out there by the fire with his friend,
With Booze.
Boozy, and he came in after about 40 minutes. I saw him keep looking into the room. He said, "What are you talking about? You seem to be laughing a lot and arguing a lot and being passionate about things." And I said, "Well, we're talking about Shakespeare," and that's what made us think then whether there was something in that. But we were nervous about talking about the plays in any kind of cerebral way. But I said, let's just start with, because I think Twelfth Night was the first interview I started with, and at the end of it, you went, actually, that wasn't too painful. And out of that, then we just started to work our way through all the plays.
And you recorded them on your phone. Is it your phone?
It was my phone. We had a system in the other room, which was it had to be on your tissue box, didn't it? The phone.
Yes.
And you had to start with usually a mouthful of butterkist. We had to go through that routine. And one day you had a mouthful of butterkist and you laughed so much it all went all over the carpet, the mouthful of butterkist, and you couldn't stop laughing. Although it's about Shakespeare, I think what people have responded to is that it's about friendship and, dare I say it, but love.
Oh, Brendan.
Well, isn't it?
It's getting hot.
But it is, isn't it? It's about friendship, because that has united us. We do challenge each other with questions about Shakespeare. So I've got a good question.
Okay.
If Shakespeare came to dinner...
He's not coming, is he?
No, he's not coming tonight.
No.
But
Even me being such a terrible cook.
stop it. What would you ask him? What would you ask Shakespeare if he came to dinner?
Well, he wouldn't get a chance to eat, that's for sure.
Why not?
There's
He'd
much
be
too
straight.
much to ask.
What would you ask him? What would you want?
Oh, Brendan. I would say, you've got another play up your sleeve, have you? Anything for me? not Brendan.
No. Anything.
Anything that you could give us a few tips. That'd be good, wouldn't it? If he came to supper, would you get him very, very drunk, do you suppose?
Well, why would you want to get him drunk?
Well, then he might come out with all sorts of rather lewd and louche stories. That would be thrilling, wouldn't
You want
it?
a bit of smut.
I don't. I don't want a bit of smut. But you would have to say, you don't have another play, do you?
Yes.
I don't suppose you have another play. Nothing for me. That we could, wouldn't it be wonderful?
Oh, I'd probably say, how did you do it? And thank you for the words. Did you ever meet him?
Who? Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought you... Sorry. Okay. Dickie Burbage?
Would you leave the room now?
Kemp?
Would you leave the room now?
Hey, but
Brendan?
you may have had family connected.
Well, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
That is true, because I did that program of Who Do You Think You Are? I had no idea whatsoever. I knew about my pa's ancestors and family, but I knew nothing of my ma's. Born in Ireland, born in Dublin, and that's all I knew. I knew nothing about her father, and I don't know why. I don't know why this. Except that I found out on that program that her side of the family it goes back to Denmark, and that we found out, and we are one of our ancestors is Tycho Brahe, who is the famous Danish astronomer, and then my 9 times removed, or 8 times removed, great aunt, I think, was lady-in-waiting to the Danish Queen at Elsinore, and was there when Will Kemp and Shakespeare's company visited it. And we don't know, do we, if he was ever there.
But Will Kemp was definitely there.
Will Kemp certainly was there. Do you think he just nipped over, Will, to say, I'm just going to have a look at the matinee on Wednesday, see if they're doing it properly? Wouldn't it be lovely?
Make sure they're not changing any of my lines.
But also, Tycho, I've got a family tree of Tycho Brahe, and all the names in the family around it like that, and on the left are two family crests, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And we have always supposed, haven't we, that there was 2 names that Shakespeare
Yes.
had just invented, maybe,
Yes.
in Hamlet. But there they are. They're part of Tycho Brahe's family.
On your family...
Yeah, on his family tree.
That's a wonderful connection to make to Shakespeare. That must make you feel that he's closer to you.
My heart gave a bit of a skip.
Did it really?
Yep. Hello, I'm Judi Dench,
And I'm Brendan O'Hay.
and our new book, Shakespeare, The Man Who Pays the Rent, is out now. And we used to practice, remember this? We used to practice sitting on that big bed of roses.
Yes.
We used to practice before we went on, you and Larry guitared and me.
Yes.
We used to practice who could do the best sneeze.
Yes, we did.
Well, it got you off to a good scene, didn't it?
But this was before you were just... The last scene for
Just
you
before.
Sending the Clowns.
Yes.
So as a kind of, one of the greatest actresses of
Could
all
you
time...
do it now?
What?
One of
A
those
false
sneezes.
sneeze?
Yes.
Are you challenging me?
Yes.
Okay.
Go. It's pathetic.
Go on then.
Okay.